thanks for coming on the podcast, guys. I know we talked about doing this like a while ago, but between all our schedules and how busy the gym is, it's kind of been a little bit of a struggle. And then I realized it's almost 26, so I was like, maybe we'll get this rolling. And part of the reason we're doing the podcast is because we went out to Westside to do the Conjugate Tactical Coaches Seminar, largely due to Nick.
Yeah.
He really pushed us to go, not just in the sense of like motivating us to go, because I think once we're actually there, it's kind of an easy thing because we're all really interested in it, but more in the sense of like, hey, this is happening, hey, you should go, hey, I want you there, hey, the guys there want you there, and when I got there, and I'm sure you guys would agree, I see why he wanted us there, and not purely just from the sense of going to gain more education and knowledge and what it is that we're obsessed with, but just from the camaraderie, culture, family, I guess, aspect, if you will, of lifting, which sometimes can be found and other times it's not found, unfortunately. That's just being real about what it is that we're a part of, and so I was really thankful that you were really just adamant, and also to help us all improve, including yourself,
Yeah, that's good.
So that was pretty nice for me to notice right out of the gate. So, because you know how it is, it's easy to from the outside be like, it's gonna be like this. I don't know, and then everyone, myself included, holds Westside in such a high regard that I don't know. I feel like you could probably just imposter syndrome yourself into never ever going and never interacting with those people and never gaining anything from it other than just looking at it from the outside and being like, I think this is what it is.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And the other thing that I kind of noticed too, I think Mikey, we were talking about it on the way there, is just being willing to take time out of your schedule and be aggressive about it and be like, no, I'm gonna do this. I don't have to just stay on my routine. I can just be like, no, I'm going this weekend. And it was actually really fun, I thought.
Yeah, I had a blast. It was great.
Just hanging out in the car and listening to music and just getting food on the way there. And the seminar was 2 days, but it really felt like a day to me,
The best part was you driving the whole time.
Why?
Because I didn't have to drive. You drove. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty fun getting the little sassy Instagram story updates from Matt.
I didn't see him over the...
No, it was just I didn't have to check in with you guys at all. I could just look at Matt's story of halfway through Indiana, expressway. Oh, they made it to Ohio, expressway.
Well, I don't recall doing that, but okay.
Yeah, but no, it was nice, and then also just the history aspect of it. It's I was thinking, well, and I think we talked about this several times since we went out there. Is if I'm gonna continue to do more education, which I will over time.
Yeah.
I prefer it to be in that manner.
Yeah, it was good.
It
was very well put together and orchestrated, and it was a lot of information. What was it, 2 days, right? It was a lot of information.
Yep.
And it was a good refresher for everything that I've learned in the past.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And, sort of confirming some things, other things, realizing oh, maybe that wasn't as important as I thought it was. It's not unnecessary, but lean into this thing a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And I guess, and I'm not ripping on a degree or, certifications that are legitimate, that are hard to get.
Yeah.
But my point is that it's a real life experience with real people, and it's based off tried and true, sacrificial, people have died for this shit to to make it what it is, and it's not like an internet acronym, and I don't need that shit. I don't care about it, I don't need to say, hey, I got this 4-letter, this 3-letter cert at this point. I have those. We have to have them, right? Everyone at this table has them.
Yeah.
We'll continue to get them, but you kind of laughed and smiled for a second. You know what I'm saying? And you have a pedigree of certification,
the
degree.
alphabet soup.
What's that?
The alphabet soup after my name.
Yeah, and I feel like it's good to have those things as your base, but when it boils down to it, it's you need to find people that are truly obsessed with this, care about it, are never going to walk away from it, and just really want to get into the exploratory aspect of training. you know.
Yes, I feel like the longer we do it, the more of that stuff, like the alphabet soup per se, becomes noise.
Yeah.
And like the interpersonal like experiences that you have training people and the stuff you learn from just being there for doing it for so long and just seeing so many people move in so many different ways.
Yeah.
I feel like that's much more of a learning experience for me anyways.
Oh yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
and I've learned and gotten better by actually doing that. You know, like no disrespect to people who have all these certifications and stuff like that, but I think it's funny when I look on the internet and I see people just bragging about their certifications. And I've been doing this for like 25 years now, and I'm just like, okay, cool. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you're saying. No, I mean, yeah, I think that at the end of the day, you know, like, and I'm sure that you guys can attest to this too, definitely you, Nick, like, I've met a lot of people with really impressive backgrounds, really great resumes, you know, twice, 3, 4 times, 5 times my resume, and I don't see any application at all. You know?
Yeah, well, I mean that's why
just-
that's part of why I lovingly bullied you guys into taking this course, because especially for you,
Yeah.
like starting out on your coaching journey,
Yeah,
accomplished lifter, but starting out on your coaching journey, like this is what it's about.
for sure.
For guys that have been doing it for decades, man, the letters, it does become all noise.
Yeah.
So I wanted you guys to, like, carve out some time out of your incredibly busy schedules.
It was
to, like,
great.
Focus on yourself, but also introduce you to a world that I'm pretty familiar with, and like, hey, here's everything that we're doing. Here's some stuff that could be a refresher. Here's some stuff that, like, oh, like you were saying, Lawrence, doesn't really matter as much. This stuff works instead.
No, yeah, 100%. And yeah, it was a nice, I guess for me, it was also a nice, how do I explain it? It'd be like a nice kind of reigniter of like the sort of education journey side of it. Because the longer you do this, just like anything, it's really easy to settle in. And I don't think I've ever actually settled in my training abilities or my coaching abilities at all. But from the side of like seeking more knowledge and trying to find other people that know X, Y, Z, and sort of like picking up that student mindset again, you know, that seminar that weekend really started that over for me again in a really good way. And even like a week ago, me and Matt were just talking about, hey, let's try to find something in 26 that we can go to, even if it's another weekend at Westside, or maybe get a hold of Joe DeFranco, go out to DeFranco's, you know what I mean? Like find those people that are similar mindset, but maybe they have a different specialty. That struck a good one for you. I wasn't even thinking about the correlation, but you know, that dude loves the athletic side of strength training and getting results, you know, and dude's like a, you know, 4 a.m. coach, you know, he's a 5 a.m. coach. He's a, you know, that's his bread and butter, but finding other people like that, you know, and seeking it out. So that was really nice for me, and that was not why I originally went. I originally went because I was like, well, I'm sure going to learn a couple things, or a lot of things, and then also just go to Westside and get to know those people, and you know, and Gus is fantastic, man. That dude, like, so hilarious and so easy to learn from because on one hand he's so self-deprecating and downplays. Right, we were talking about that, weren't we? A little bit, like, like I think we walked out on a break and we were like, "Holy shit, dude! Like, I'm trying to keep up and I can't." And then at the same time, he's like, "I'm sorry, like, I hope this doesn't suck. Like, if you need your money back, let me know."
Right.
I know.
I'm just trying
like,
to take notes as fast as possible.
I reviewed my notes before this because I was like, what did I learn? Like, it was a lot of information. And then I realized, like, I appreciated the class because a lot of classes you take, like, for certification, have these boundaries, right? They're like, this is the curriculum, we're staying within these boundaries. And then I realized this class was very much about the application of the programming. It wasn't so much like, it was like a lot about like, here's how we program Conjugate, but also application. And then I realized like, oh, I've taken that mindset and applied some of the concepts of it in like cases for my clients. I haven't really like written a Conjugate program per se, but like I've applied these concepts in like the tactical approach that they taught us, like with my clients that do sports recreationally or something like that. Need
Yeah.
preparedness. So
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think we were talking about that on the drive back, but once I got back to the gym and kind of, settled into the next couple of weeks, next couple of months of training, even myself, I would say too, so you can lump me in there with it, but like training the people that I train, it's funny because as we were going out, I was like, well, it's not like I train, it's not like I train firefighters or military at the moment or police. Or anyone that fall in that category of tactical, right? But the funny thing is that if you think about it, the everyday person, or even the person that is interested in powerlifting but has another life, right? They're not like a pro athlete, right? Like we know Inez, right? If something happens to Inez lifting, that's unfortunate, but that's her whole life. Like she can just take her whole life and put it on pause and then fix that thing, go back at it, and maybe do it again, and then it sort of doesn't matter to a degree.
Yeah.
But most people that we're training, pretty much all of them, they can't really afford those catastrophic like injuries and setbacks and just like psychological toll it takes on you if you have a family or if you're a CEO or you run your own business. It's just not even an option really. And so what I sort of picked up from taking care of like the tactical athletes and thinking about how I'm training them in their main lifts or in their accessories and how they should be recovering, or like these minis, like just all those bits and pieces that were sort of brought up and refreshed our memory or brought up for the first time and presented to us. Like I came back and I'm like, well, these people aren't tactical, but to me they're tactical in their own lives. They're in their own demands and how they need to feel walking out of here and what they have to do when they leave the gym. So that to me was like so mind-blowing. And I'm sure you probably noticed, but the sled work has probably tripled or quadrupled since then. And little sled, medium sled, big sled, using the sled for accessories, the band work, chain work. It's not just main lifts. And that was all happening prior to going out to that seminar. But it just made me realize how much more I should lean into it in order to take care of people and get them where I need to get them without having a roadblock here and a roadblock there.
Yeah.
And those are still going to come up, but just not as extreme.
Yeah.
Did you guys notice anything like that?
Well, that's so like where the banner of Conjugate Tactical, and I'm going to steal directly from Gus. Like that's kind of hey, we're gonna get you in the door, and that's when like he'll walk up to the whiteboard and just change the T to a P, and it's Conjugate Practical. Because yes, while folks may not have like the first responder or military jobs, like, you still don't know when you have to be ready to go drop of a hat.
Yeah,
so
that's a good point too.
So it's how do you take the conjugate methods, tested and popularized by Westside, applied to
Everyday life.
Everyday life for a non contested sport athlete.
Yeah. Right. No, that's a great point. Amita that I train. So, I mean, she's just amazing. She's like one of my favorite people to train, and seeing her change over the years has been crazy.
I've seen her through the years too. She's wonderful.
She's like obsessed with powerlifting now. It's the cutest thing on the planet.
So funny.
But her mom has lived with her for quite some time now, and she has just continued to get older and older. And she's pretty resilient for an older lady, but as time goes on, like they're gonna struggle more and they're gonna need more, and then your physicality, the demands of your physicality go up as your parent ages, especially when they're living with you. It's not like you have a nurse's assistant there. It's not like they're in a nursing home, ideally, And so she's come in over the years and told me I had to do this, I had to do that. And most recently after the seminar, let's say we trained another 6 months or something like that, or 7 months, whatever. Recently her mom fell and she had to help get her mom up. And then also she had to kind of move her mom for the next week from place to place. And she was shocked at how easy it was for her to move her mom. I mean, it was hard, but it was doable,
Yeah.
And Amita's almost 70.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And still getting PRs in the gym. But what I'm getting to is that a lot of the things that we were talking about, how to make it practical at that seminar, I directly applied to everyone, but especially Amita. Being an older population, she can't not recover well. She can't have joint problems.
Yeah.
She can't do like an 8-week linear progression, right?
For
Like,
real.
I
Yeah.
have, Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that I
She
have
can't-
No
clients-
deload.
Yeah, she can't halo herself
Right.
into success. You know what I mean? Well, I mean,
exactly.
she
He
should.
said
Right.
You know, she can't be like, "Hey, mom, I know you just fell. Let me go.
Hold
Pop
on one
a
second.
pill.
Yeah, let me go take that halo real quick,
real
and then I'll
quick,
get you
yeah.
to the ER or whatever."
That's
But
right. Yeah.
Well,
no,
I mean, you had something similar when you were doing all your summertime projects on the roof.
Oh yeah, it was just like I was carrying bags of dirt up and down the stairs, and because I've been training with Nick, we do a lot more cardio stuff.
yeah.
And
Oh yeah, you told me about that.
I
a
live
little
on the
bit.
3rd floor of a walk up, so there's a lot of stairs getting up to my rooftop deck.
Yeah.
And I remember I was literally throwing bags of dirt on my shoulders, both of them. And it was like 10 trips up and down. I was like, wait, why am I not out of breath? This is so weird. I was like, oh, because I'm actually practicing dynamic effort, and we had a lot of cardio. Well, we were
Yeah.
doing our CrossFit thing for the summer, so
Yeah,
that was a little hiccup, but it was
Yeah.
fine.
Hold on. What is the hiccup? Just like meaning like, oh, I feel you. Okay.
I mean,
got
it's
you.
just a hiccup. It was
Yeah,
like
it wasn't like
one-off.
something you want to do long term.
No, it was
Yeah, I got
a
you,
one-off
I got you.
thing that we were
We're gonna
doing
try
for
it
the
out.
summer.
And we're like, oh, okay, this.
And it was fun, but
Yeah.
it was also like a hiccup.
So
You
we
know
will
what I
or
mean?
we will not see you on ESPN next year.
No.
No kipping
I'm dealing
pull-ups.
with
Definite-
I'm dealing
it's a
with
definite no.
This is a definite no. I'm dealing with a knee issue that you're helping me fix. So I can't be doing like kipping
No, I feel
crazy,
you, yeah.
running 20 miles and throwing kettlebells and things.
No, I know what you mean. We'll definitely get into that knee thing here in a little bit because
Okay.
there was something I wanted to talk about with that. I was thinking back to when we were at Westside. There was just several things that I had kind of thought about. Well, A, right when I got there, and then B, after I had sort of taken off. And it was really cool to see the jiu-jitsu slant wall.
Oh yeah, that was cool.
That was amazing because we've talked about it on the podcast before. I think with Ed, and when me and Ed had this really great jiu-jitsu guy from Europe on a while ago. But there's like a patent behind that wall. So having that wall is really hard to get. So you have to know someone and have permission essentially to have it. And so even if we wanted to put it in this room, which we're in the Jiu-Jitsu Academy, like we would have to get permission and pay someone there. So there's a process to go through. So seeing that, I was like, man, that's great. And then second, I was like, I need to get back out here at some point and train jiu-jitsu. Like that would suck. It would be awful, I'm sure, but I definitely want to do it. And I just was so happy to see that. And I also just like from like the internet, YouTube, like whatever, just like watching different videos of Louis and people there, like, and knowing there was a history of his interest in fighting, martial arts, like whatever, however you want to categorize it. It was nice to see that it had gotten to the point where it came to real life and it became a focal point of the gym. I'm sure you could tell me a little bit more about that, but it was nice to see sort of the progression of what a lot of people, myself included, think of what Westside is. And everyone just simplifies everything because that's just how we are as humans, But it has like this category and that category and just like the real life application thing we were talking about, So everyone thinks it's just like these drug-induced like meathead dudes just, trying to get a PR with gear, you know what I mean? And it has like so many different underlayers to it and affects so many different parts of life. So, and do you know, like Nick, off the top of your head, do you know what was the transition point between like where Westside was in the previous location to the newer location, and then that being in Westside as part of it? Was that something that Louis wanted from the get-go, or was that something that was like a transition thing once he had passed, and that was like sort of the next step of the gym? And I might be asking you a question you don't know the answer to, but
I don't fully know the answer.
Yeah.
I feel confident saying it's more of a transition to this is the new Westside.
Mm-hmm.
Because, and like you guys saw when we were in the lecture space,
Mm-hmm.
kind of that museum area,
Yeah.
it's totally separate from the new gym.
Yep.
And that's like very much by design of,
Yeah.
hey, we're going to respect the legacy of Westside Barbell and Louis Simmons.
Mm-hmm.
This is the new side of Westside Barbell
Mm-hmm.
under Tom Barry. So, if if we F things up, it is on the new side. There is nothing.
No correlation.
Yeah, nothing bad happens to like
All the
everything
stuff.
that Louis built.
I like it. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and that was the other thing that I sort of noticed too, is sort of the athlete side of Westside. You know, like even when we were in our class, I don't know, you probably know the guy's name, but there was one guy that was in the class. I think he was like a returning Conjugate Tactical like coach. You know, like he'd just come back, or he was already there, but he was doing his runs like.
That's Tudor.
Okay, so Tudor, yeah, that was the name.
Tudor Magda is the dude's like 24, right? Very much still a kid. He's a CrossFit athlete.
Yeah, wasn't he training for CrossFit Games or
right?
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
He took 10th. He was like 10th on the planet or something like that.
So like he's sitting there like hanging out, taking notes, you know, doing this whole thing with us. I think he'd already been to many of those before, right?
So
It seemed like.
he works with Zach Filer out in Seattle, and I think they started working with Jason Leiden. Sorry if I'm pronouncing
Sure.
the last name. But like Tudor's there as a, hey, you're going to learn why we are doing this, how all of this stuff works. Because when you can teach your athletes the ins and outs, there's that next level of buy-in, right? You can tell somebody, hey, we're gonna squat 10 sets of 2. Matt, I need you to go fast. And you can sit there, like when we started training together, like, why are we doing this? This is silly.
Yeah.
But then when you understand it and kind of, here's how everything kind of fits together, it just gets a next level of, this makes sense. Okay, yeah, I'll go fast.
Yeah. No, I agree, and I'm sure that you guys are the same, you know, but when I'm in there training people, I try not to over-explain to the point where, like, I lose them, you know, and I see them, they're starting to walk away, they're looking out the window, because you can do that to people.
Yeah.
But I try to get people as much information as possible whenever I can, so that they have that, like, buy-in thing. They understand why we're doing it, the reason this works better than our other options, how this is going to affect your life, or how this is going to affect something that we want to do in the gym 3 months from now, and why the execution is correct, you know, or why it needs to be that way, things like that. So I think that's pretty clutch if you can get that accomplished with your people.
Yeah.
You know? But yeah, I was really impressed by that, and that was another vote for me to be like, that's why I need to be here today. These are the right people for me. Like that dude's running while he's studying and he's running. You know what I mean? And then like there was other people who just popped in, you know, and kind of like talked for a little bit and kind of gave their 2 cents, or just like, you know, their presence was around, and they weren't there the whole day. But I don't know, man. It just kind of reminded me of like your family home growing up. You know, people were around, like they're all putting their time in. They're all, you know, doing what they can, and everyone has a different role, but it all adds up to something really great.
Yeah, and that's where like you're talking about, Mikey, where a lot of seminars we're going to operate within this little box.
Right.
I think the coolest part of Conjugate Tactical is here's all of the material, but my God, you're in a room full of so many other people who like are doing this.
Yep.
Please, please, please connect, talk. So like when we have these little breakout sessions, or
Yep.
all right, hey, we'll take 5, grab some water, use the, you know, talk to whoever.
Yep.
Those sidebar conversations can spiral into
Oh, hell yeah.
20 minutes of like, oh shit, this is really,
Yeah.
this is sick.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead,
No,
Mike.
I just like appreciated that, because I am such a rebellious person. When someone says you got to, you know what you gotta do?
Yeah.
You gotta do this. You gotta do kettlebells. You gotta do this. And what I really appreciate about that was like, I don't remember ever being told this is what you have to do. It's here's a framework.
Yep.
Here's like what we do.
Totally.
Like this works for this works for that. Like, you know, and even Gus being, you know, his humility, being like, I don't know if this is right. Like, you just tell me. I was like, I appreciate that, because like we're kind of shooting in the dark here. Like, we have like ideas that work. And
Totally.
that's cool. But yeah, I was more sold into it because people were not like being like, this is the way. you know? So,
Yeah, and just like anything in life, you know, if someone is like so rigid in their beliefs, or they're so like skewed that that's the only way to look at it, you know, I don't want to be around that person,
Yeah,
you know,
me
and I
either.
don't trust them either, because they are not confident in their own beliefs or their own system to the point where they can't even allow
Another opinion.
any other opinion or any other option, and I just feel like, man, like progress really kind of dies if that's going on in any case, in anything, in life. And for you especially, like, it's kind of safe to say that generally speaking, we're sort of like conjugate weirdos. Like we're fully, you know what I mean? Like almost to the point of like doing conjugate just to piss people off. That's. I'm just joking.
No, but I get
like,
it.
you know what? Like this looks ridiculous. Maybe I should throw something else on there because that guy's gonna be bummed.
Let's throw a chain on the band.
It's gonna make it harder for me. But if he's sad about it, that's funny too.
Yeah.
But
You joke, but that is a thing.
No, I know.
What's
I
that?
know.
What'd you say?
I'm not joking. Yeah.
Putting attaching bands to a bar and then putting chains on the band.
Yeah.
So you have that oscillation of it.
Yeah. I heard that's the new shit. Like that's the, but no, my point is that I know that generally speaking, and right now in your life and your coaching style, like you are more of a hybrid or tend to lean on like a lot of linear stuff, right?
Yeah.
But like intelligently though, like you're not, you're trying to find a way to do it where you're not just like, well, it's 20 pounds heavier than last week, last week was RP 8, this week's RP 9. I don't feel good, but it's RP 9. That's what the computer says, so we're doing it. Like, you try to find a really nice sort of like I don't know, like the smartest possible approach for that. And conjugate's not perfect either. I mean, there's so many flaws, so many things that we're not sure how to work around it yet, but.
Trust Nick knows whenever I see a poll, I'm like, so wait, it's this, but you're doing this today? And he's like, let me try to explain this again to you. And I'm always like poking him, and I think he appreciates it. But yeah, no, I'm seeing the practicality of it, and I have applied it to some of my clients.
Yeah.
Most of my clients, Gadies want to get bigger, and so I'm like, okay, like we're gonna just bodybuilding program.
Yeah, they want to look hot, dude.
Well, you want to look hot and linear progression. They don't really care about their like box jump or their performance and stuff like that. So it's like it's totally fine, whatever.
It also works.
But I have like a lot of clients that do
real.
sports, or like I have a woman in her 50s that does freestyle dog show competitions where the dog like jumps through hoops and like gets on her arms and she twists and turns.
Dude, that is like
stuff.
strangely athletic, man.
It's
Like
so
it sounds
athletic.
funny when you just say it.
It sounds funny,
Like you
but
watch that shit. Like if you put me or you in there, dude,
No
that would
way.
be rough.
No way.
Like Best in Show.
It's like the dog is like doing flips and like jumping on you and stuff. But
you're basically like ice skating with a fucking dog.
But she can't. She's twisting and turning like for like 10 minutes straight.
That's
you know?
crazy.
Yeah, that's what I was. I
And
mean, obviously the
lunging.
dog's not on ice.
Right. But like, so she can't do like squats for like 10 weeks, right? And get super stiff.
Yeah,
she can't
totally.
do like a linear progression program, really. It has to be reactive and like malleable to like where she's at that week, right?
Yep.
And so
Conjugate
this is
works
where
very well
Conjugate
for
works
that.
for that, right?
Yeah.
It's the practical aspect of it. Like we're doing this so that you can perform better, not to hinder your performance.
Totally.
Right. So,
Yeah.
Could I chime in real quick
Yeah,
about
yeah,
what
totally.
experience I've had with conjugate myself and my clients? So for myself, my recovery, and I'm in my 40s now, so like I used to be able to train linear progressions forever, and I did for a very long time with the help of anabolic things that helped me get pretty strong.
Vitamins.
But like as I got older, my recovery was way worse, and once I started training conjugate like method like correctly, my recovery was just so much better.
Yeah.
It was like a 1 day soreness, and then the dynamic effort would kind of knock out all the other max effort soreness because of the blood flow.
Yep.
So I loved it, and I bought into it, and then I started applying it to clients of mine who are around my age.
Yep.
Because they just can't do the heavy linear progressions anymore because you start getting knee pains and things happen, things come
totally.
up. So once they started doing the conjugate method, they're just like, oh my God, this is so much better. I feel stronger, I feel not as sore, and I kind of feel a little athletic too. And like you said, it applies to practical for everyone.
Yep.
On a broad spectrum, not so much just this like tactical box that we that could be.
Yeah, not everyone's getting ready to break a door down.
Right, exactly.
Style.
Exactly.
I mean, that's not. But you think of that when you hear the word.
Yeah. But yeah, I just wanted to add that. So it was,
we're all like, I mean, maybe not you, but us three are a little riddled with overuse injuries because of running the 100th linear progression of our life.
Yes, or
And
200.
200th in some cases. And I
yeah.
think we're all just kind of looking at this conjugate thing as like, oh man, this like looks kind of nice not to have to worry about a progression.
Oh, it's nice.
Or like mixing it up, and I feel better. My joints feel better. I'm more athletic. Like,
Yeah.
powerlifting linear progressions don't really factor in these
Yeah.
concerns that conjugate does. And
Yeah.
as you age, like these are going to become more of a priority, right?
Well,
Like,
yeah, and the funny thing is, it's not even necessarily out because you're trying to structure it in a way so that you can essentially do more, recover better, and then like long term,
Right.
you're actually long term going to do more
Right.
because you can keep training.
And training hard.
But initially it may be a way to kind of regress,
Right.
and then take time to sort of get used to the elements or the, accommodating this and that or that bar or whatever. Like maybe you've never floor pressed before, whatever. So there is like that kind of onloading time to take a step back, and then you can progress when you're ready. But I had a thought earlier when we were kind of going back and forth about like linear and conjugate and stuff like that. So on the flip side, to having people like yourself around or TJ, is there anyone else that I'm missing in the gym who's kind of a hard hitter, like with like the linear stuff, or like Megan?
I was for a very long time, and then I kind
Or
of
like Marvin, or like I don't know, just anyone who's like, I'm not going to categorize and say, oh, just USAPL people, but that's kind of a given. Anyone that does that stuff, or just like hardcore people like TJ or like Joe, Schmitten. I think that's how you say his last name.
Yeah.
But any of those people in our gym that are still doing that and are committed to that, I really appreciate that, and I in a lot of ways don't want that to go away. So on a lot of levels, I want to keep inviting that because we have sort of like the conjugate aspect of our gym that we're really embracing and we're really building it up and we're like leaning into it hard. Like I have no intentions of going any other direction, right? Like whatsoever with the gym, myself, whatever. But I like having those people around because, and I'm sure you can attest to this with maybe people you don't know personally, maybe you do, or maybe people you've just seen on the internet, but sometimes people will use conjugate as a way to bastardize themselves into doing less. Like,
Oh yeah.
you know what I'm talking about? And so I like having these pressures in the gym with a regular barbell, regular plates. Just there's nothing going on, man. There's no bands, there's no chains, there's nothing. It's just straight up heavy ass weight. I like having that as I'm aging and getting into conjugate because it keeps that influence in my mind and it makes me realize like that is just as important, or maybe even more important at times for me as like a respecting myself standpoint. To like if I can't move that regular ass bar with regular ass weight from A to B strongly, that I'm not okay with myself. I'm just talking about me, So I like having that around. I like having that like bully peer pressure on the side, being like, yeah, conjugate is smart, it's working, I believe in it, I'm only gonna do that for the rest of my life. But I like having that badass shit over there where it's like, don't forget, like it's right there and you can't like ignore it and you can't run away from it.
Yeah, it's like yin and yang. Like you can't have one without the other.
Yeah.
Because like if you just have one style, like it's gonna create just like there's no challenge to it. You know what I mean?
For us specifically,
Yeah, for
I'm
us
sure other
specifically.
places it's fantastic, but it's just
And I've used both styles of training, and they both work.
yeah, totally.
So it's
But-
like nothing's wrong, nothing's
Yeah.
right, but
Yeah,
also
yeah.
like they both work.
Yeah, and for sure, if someone just likes training and they want to be healthy, I mean, you can do whatever you want every week, and if you're still lifting weights, it doesn't matter to me how you do it. But I know that a big part of our gym is also focusing on brute strength, and not shying away from hard work and not bleeding a little bit. And
I mean, that's just like what we built on these walls,
Yeah, my last point is like I feel like the linear lifters, some of us still have that little ego in us
Oh,
that
fuck
we're
yeah,
like,
dude.
oh, but all right, next week I can go up there. I got more in me,
We need
like
that-
I'm not
we
alluding
need
to
that
any
around us.
particular person, but yeah, we need that, right?
we need that around
ego.
us. So that
Yeah.
I'm not saying if that wasn't around, we wouldn't be putting hard work in. That's not the case. But
Right.
I like that being like, hey man, like we are gonna do conjugate, and like we're gonna lean into this, get better at that. But I'll still like load up a regular bar, do a regular deadlift, and I don't need any of that shit. I can still hang with the best, like and
Make sure you still got it,
and in my age group, natural or not natural, like whatever,
Right,
like.
right, yeah.
But like the reason you and I were kind of giggling a little bit ago about that is because, like, I don't personally want to be one of those guys that does reverse band bench, slingshot bench, 3-board bench.
Oh, overload all the time.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, just there's always a way of just making it easier. I just don't think that that's the path either. And I think people can kind of look at Conjugate as a way out, as a way to, like, kind of, I won't box squat the high boxes. Like I only do pin squats. Like, nothing wrong with that. But I have a fear of turning into that person. Not of my own temptation, but that's why I like having those other elements around me. It reminds me of, like,
I don't think you'll ever turn into that person.
Yeah.
Knowing you'll never turn into that person.
But you guys know what I'm saying, though,
yes.
right? Like,
yes.
Yeah. And I'm not shitting on Conjugate, obviously. Like, I'm the biggest fan of it. Like, I'm obsessed with it. But
that's where. So, like, going back to the course from the summer, it's recommended, like, have your main testing lifts, right?
Yep.
And each one of, like, so you have. For Conjugate Tactical purposes, you have the box squat, the bench press, the deadlift, the overhead press or push press. We all know 8 different variations for a squat, a bench, a deadlift. But throughout the 52 weeks in a year, hey, maybe 3 or 4 times,
you're using that.
We're just going to grab a fucking straight bar, load it up, where are we at?
Yep.
And then whatever faults show up from there.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Hey, you suck at locking out your bench.
Yeah.
3-board, my brother.
Yep.
Let's put a slingshot on.
Yeah.
Why not?
Yep.
Because then I can truly overload that top end.
Yep.
So that when we take all that shit away and we go to retest your bench, damn, we got a little bit better at locking things out.
Totally. You're not ignoring that or avoiding it. Using it for information.
The skill base.
Yeah, and you're also, as long as you're able to. I'm not saying someone that shouldn't do that should.
Right.
That's a given. Right. But as long as you're able to, you want to know where you're at. You want to know what you're doing, if it's working or if it's not working. And that's just another, like, sort of data measurement. It's more information you're bringing to the table for the next block. And but anyways, it's just a compliment to you guys. It's a compliment to how the gym started, which is just maniacs. We didn't have any equipment, dude. We didn't have bands, we didn't have chains, we didn't have blocks. Like, we literally had a GHR, the green squat rack, an incline an incline bench that was basically made out of toothpicks. Jeremy Miller was benching 315 on it, and whenever you would rack it would do this for about 45 seconds afterwards.
That's kind of Conjugate.
We had a YMCA bench press. It was made out of, like, aluminum. And we had a $140 lat pull down. And, like, I don't think we had dumbbells for 4 months. I think we didn't even have dumbbells for a while. So
we do still have the green rack in here.
Yeah, that green rack ain't going anywhere.
I know.
There's no green rack. There's probably no Rockwell, I don't think.
Yeah.
But my point is that I'll never forget that, and I never want to get too far away from that. And so that's what I like about our gym too, is that, like, we don't have to have one way of doing things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even, like, the strongman department, we're like, oh yeah, you guys want to lift stones? It's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Lift heavier stones, dude.
Get more.
And then we've started to implement some of those things. Like, now we're doing carries all the time. People are messing around with the axle bar for deadlifts and shit. Like,
for sure.
That wasn't happening 5 years ago.
No.
Zerchers with the
So
axle,
so I like having all that stuff, all the above go on. Nick, how did you get involved with Gus and Conjugate Tactical? And I guess a bigger question too is that, were you already into Conjugate and, like, the Westside methods, like, in culture and all that, prior to meeting Gus, or did you meet him and then that happened? Like, how? Just kind of give me a background on how all that happened for you, because you're really close with him, and he was a big part of the reason that we went out there. And I really, we bought equipment from him before. I've only knew him from over the phone. Katie talked to him over the phone. But, I have a really huge appreciation for the guy, and I only spent a freaking weekend with him, But he seems like a lifelong friend. Like, I don't ever think that I'm probably not going to talk to that guy or know that guy. I feel like I'll probably see him more in the future, and I want to. And so, So how did you get involved with him and all this shit we're talking about?
So I met Gus in 2019, 2020. he was doing a seminar. He was doing like a one-day seminar. Conjugate Tactical had like just started. And he was doing a one-day seminar. My buddy Joey and I were like, all right, let's check it out.
Yep.
And it was up in Mequon, Wisconsin, just north of Milwaukee. So we drove up for the day, went through, and it was the presentation that you guys got has like been refined, tweaked over the course of 5 years. That first one-day seminar, brother, I was sitting in the chair going like, oh God. Oh.
So there were more tangents or less tangents?
Yes.
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 Yeah, both, yeah.
But like you guys have bore witness to Jason being super friendly, welcoming it. He's like, hey man, I have a gym in Indiana, like thank you guys for coming out to this one day thing. If you ever want to swing by, like my doors are open for you. Dude, it's just walking, like the door's open, just walk through. So for several months, if not like 2 years, there's a point where damn near every weekend, Joey and I drove out to Chesterton, Indiana on a Saturday or a Friday to go train and just shoot the shit.
That's fun.
And so...
But it's far away. It's so scary to
It's an hour.
to drive more than 15 minutes anywhere because, you know, you might not make it and then you have to leave your couch.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? It's so, it's out of the neighborhood. You know?
But you know what? It'll take me an
So
hour to get
scary.
home from here on a Friday
In the
This is-
city.
afternoon.
I'm
the
just
city.
trolling people that, like, you know what I mean? They can't even hop
They
on the
can't.
CTA and like take 2 stops
Yeah.
to a better gym.
Yeah.
So,
Anyways.
but no, it was going out and visiting and talking shop and just like putting in the sweat equity with each other and learning things and like, oh, okay, this is how you operate. Here's what I know. Here's what I'm curious about. How can we kind of bridge those gaps? Like he's a good dude. So yeah, that's how Jason and I met and like have grown our friendship.
Yeah.
And as far as like how did I get into the conjugate, like I've worked in collegiate strength and conditioning. You're gonna learn in the coming up process. You're gonna learn every method under the sun. You're gonna find something that resonates with you at that point in time. It's like linear periodization, Wendler's 531, bread and butter. Oh my God, I can understand. The first time that I read the book of methods, I got 3 pages in. I was like, wait, we were talking about something totally different a paragraph ago.
Yeah.
What?
What where did I go wrong?
Yeah.
Oh no, it just totally changed. But then like you constantly reread a lot of the books that Louis wrote, like you watch the videos and stuff. And you talk. I think the biggest way to learn is talk with dudes that understand it and then do it yourself.
Yes.
Because I can remember the first block or wave that I wrote utilizing the conjugate method. I had so many questions. I was like, wait, so, all right, if I squatted this week, do I squat next week?
Right, me too. I was like...
And then, like, what do I do the next week? And my mentor, who was very smartest guy I've ever met, Nick Zestatis, he coached with Larry Lilja at Northwestern way back in the day. Louis had called Larry when he was starting to figure out kind of like the bands and everything, because Larry Lilja was using bands up at Northwestern, and Louis was like, tell me more about this. I want to know. Or so it goes. But Nick was like, no, you just do something different. Like even if it's you squatted to a 14-inch box to a 13-inch box, it's a different squat. And starting out, that doesn't make sense. You're like, no, but it's still a box squat. I'm doing the same thing.
Totally.
It's not.
It's not. It's different.
Yeah.
So it's just those little tweaks.
Yeah, totally.
And then trying to learn and understand. I don't have to. There's not a fixed number that I'm trying to hit, like with linear or anything like that.
I think that was the hardest thing for me to understand was like, going from linear progression to conjugate was like, wait, what? I'm so like, I was so embedded with the linear progression and the numbers that like when the numbers don't matter in conjugate, it's like your max effort for the day. You know, like it's so different of a like, it's like a brain fuck almost, you know?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And it took me a while, but you were right. The more I surround myself around people that were doing it, the more I trained it, the more I understood it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you brought,
Sorry, that's where like linear progression, like the name tricks people up, right? Like if we do linear progression with like RPE scale, it is kind of like effort progression more so, right? Like, and people get tripped up because they did 495 last week. I gotta do 505 this week because it's
the
linear
RPE
progression.
is higher.
And it's like, well, no, it's more effort this week where you're at today, and that's what I have to draw people out of, myself included. Often to be like, okay, today, how do I feel? Where we're going? Warm up. Be cognizant of it. So
Yeah, and I think a lot of times people that kind of like are in our camp of things, you know, think of linear as like strictly just more weight than the last time you did it with less rep or a change in sets or whatever. But I guess depending on how you look at it, you can kind of use your RPE as a conjugate in the sense of how you feel, how your energy levels are. You know, like obviously the lift isn't changing, but you can adjust what you're doing that day based on what you're able to do that day. Just doesn't mean RPE 9 and then you fucking just send it to like stupidly, you know. Hopefully.
It might be the same weight as last week. It might be a little lower. Who knows? But like, God forbid. That's like, that's devastating. So
when you were talking about the different programs or coaches, like kind of going through them, you know, like without a goal in mind, you'd be like, I'm gonna do this one and that one, and then I'm gonna get to conjugate. But I think a lot of us had that same experience where, you know, I did some Chico stuff. I did 531. I did I can't remember the guy's name from Kentucky. He was a Westside guy for a little bit. Brandon. I can't remember the guy's name. Well,
you're talking about like the cube method.
Yes, cube method.
I remember
last time I
used
had
to do that.
said the word cube in regards to lifting was probably like over a decade ago.
I remember when you did that. You were telling me about it all the time.
Yeah. And I think Jake Hartman got me into cube. I think because I'd already been doing 531 and the cube came up. But anyways, looking back on all this, I didn't realize that is kind of what was happening over time. You know. And it's a really good thing that we're changing, doing different programs, different like thought processes, and trying different ideas. So it makes sense that we kind of end up at this point, you know. But you know, I guess what I'm getting to is that now where I'm at with training conjugate and having all these other tools, like, you know, available, it makes me think back to even like my childhood, you know, when I was, you know, 10, 12 years old, you know, and my dad, he had a full-time job, but he also had his own business on the side that was also full-time. That's just what he needed to do at the time, and he was just a workaholic on top of it. So even if he didn't need the money, he probably would have just did it anyways, because that's just the way he's wired and brought up. But you know, like during the wintertime, we would literally go into the woods. We had a permission from this guy that we knew to go into his property, and we would literally climb these hills in the snow, the dirt, the mud, whatever the weather, doesn't matter, with these trucks that like barely function, you know. And we would literally cut down these giant trees, like not like dangerously. Like my dad knew how to do it, and he taught us how to do it right. But you know, like OSHA probably wouldn't be really stoked about it. You know what I mean? We would drop these trees, you know, and we would literally wrap chains. You guys can kind of see where this is going, right? We would wrap chains around these literally like 60-foot long oak trees, you know, and then chain them to the truck and then drag them out of the hills, down the hill, like so you have a giant tree behind you on a chain all the way down, and then we would cut them up, and we would only cut them up big enough to get them in the truck to take them home to put them into a log splitter. So when you're cutting these trees up into smaller chunks, you know, these chunks are like 100 pounds, 150 pounds. I mean, and my dad would always be like, look at this one, and he would always pick the biggest one up. Like, I don't know how much it weighed. There's probably like some of those stones out there, and he would get it in the truck, and he'd be like, oh my fucking back. And then literally the next day, he'd be like, watch this.
Yeah.
Like every day.
Yeah.
So I was thinking this morning on the drive over, you know, I was like, I think part of the reason that I like using all these tools is because of those sort of influences growing up, you know. And my dad was a fire chief and a firefighter too. So when you walk into a firehouse, they use every tool imaginable to get the job done. Right? They're not trying to limit themselves. Hey, I only want 2 things on the truck before we go fight this fire. Like they want everything, you know. And my mom worked for John Deere in the factory, right? Same thing. You're building combines. You're building these like world-renowned machines that are going to go anywhere in the world and do the job. Like they have endless amounts of tools in that factory to get the job done. And so I think a lot of those influences in life kind of, to me, relate to like Conjugate, you know, and I don't want to limit myself. And I don't want to be like, oh, I don't need that. I don't want to try that. I just want to see like what will work best, what will help me out.
Yeah, that's cool.
And also like what will keep me interested too, you know, because, you know, over time, like you're just like, all right, I'm going to lay down and I'm going to bench again, you know, and you get to like year 23 or year 30 and you're like, I'm going to lay down, I'm just going to do the bar and then I'm going to put a plate on there. I'm not saying that it's not interesting and fun, because it always is, but when there's these other elements in play, you're kind of curious. Like, I've never benched that band before. I've never made it to that band. I wonder what that's going to do to me, you know, like on this type of press. Or I've never drugged the sled like that before in that direction. And so for me, that keeps me going, keeps me interested in a way that I'm not just like, oh, this is who I am, so I have to keep doing it, but I'm truly curious about like what that other option is going to be like and lean into it. And I think that's why I like that quite a bit. It's because it seems kind of endless.
Yeah.
You know.
And you apply tools, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely.
You and Mikey have the Barbell project today.
Yeah, we do.
Right?
We do.
And you guys have a big day, an early podcast, and then you're doing that. It's like technically like a seminar, right?
Yeah.
Do you guys want to tell me a little bit about it? I mean, I kind of know sort of the general gist, but I just wanted to see like what gave you guys the idea to do this and what the motivation behind it was, and also like what you guys hope to accomplish over time with it, with you know, people in our city, in our community, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you want
sure. Yeah. Let's see. I've always done sports, like growing up in athletics. My biggest one was rock climbing. I did it for like 16 years, and I remember moving to San Francisco as a young gay man and going to the climbing gym and seeing other LGBT folks around and being like, wow, I don't know any of these people. Oh, rock climbing, like what the hell? And then simultaneously see them at the bars or going out and like, oh, this is our only like social venue really, is these drinking facilities or events or whatever. And I was like, I should start like a little group of like people that meet up and just climb together, right? Like, why not? And I made some of like my best friends from that, the people that I still like hang out with today. And I like went to one of their weddings like early this year and stuff like that, and we're all really tight. And you know, just try to get more dudes, people, anybody out of the bars and into the gym, and find like other communities of people, right? That aren't just like through social drinking communities. So yeah, so that was kind of the inclination. That was like the main motivation. And then, you know, I don't know, I've been doing this for a while, and I kind of thought eventually people would know like what bracing means, you know. I thought people would know the difference between like low bar and high bar squat, and I still like see dudes squatting, and I'm like, dear God, like, let me just give you like 20 minutes of information and I'll like change your world, I hope. Like, and so I wanted this to be like really accessible, affordable, anybody could show up, get some information, whether they're totally new, need some form checks, and just kind of meet other people. So well, and like we live in this weird bubble, you know, like where like a lot of the stuff that we discuss on a daily basis and see people do, it's like we sort of get in this mindset where, like, in my head I'm like, well, everyone's doing this at LA Fitness. I seriously think that sometimes, because I'm just like, this is the gym to me, you know. So like the gym here is the gym everywhere, like, and then you kind of forget it. You're like, dude, no, like it's such a small niche, like, you know, group of people or places really like that. So you bring a good point where it's like you want to open that up to like anyone who's willing to listen and willing to try it out, you know, and then they can go like, you know, whether they're not going to be here every day or whether they will be here every day, they can go back to their gym or your gym, you know, and apply it, you know, and show their friends, you know, or whoever, you know.
I think one of the biggest things for me is like that I've learned over the years, bringing people to Rockwell that are so intimidated by it, and then they end up loving it so much. You know, like when I have like random clients come in here and they would never come, and you have to like convince them to come, and then they come and they're like, oh, well, it's not that bad. You know, like,
Yeah, totally,
you know, like Joey Schringa, for instance, he was,
Yeah.
or they were very like, they were very like skeptical about the place at first and very scared.
Yeah, sure.
And now he loves it, and he talks to everyone.
Yep.
You know, and
100%.
like, it's just different to see over the 3 years I've been training him, to see where he was as to like how comfortable he is at the place, and now how he wants, or how Joey wants to get like more people to come here.
Yep.
You know,
Yeah,
so
that
it's just
says a
kind of
lot,
awesome.
man. You go from that be like, I'm worried, kind of intimidated thing, to like, hey, anyone that will come here with me, I want to bring them in. That's like that's pretty cool.
And I think our goal for today is to kind of, or my goal anyway, is to kind of show how friendly we are, how open we are to help, and how nice of an environment it is here with everyone else, you know?
Yeah.
And then it's not intimidating. I mean, that's always been my goal with Rockwell, is to show like, you know, it's like a family for me and you and all of us, I think.
Yeah,
And,
exactly.
you know, it's just like, if we could like exude that to other people, they really feel welcomed in the community. You know, whether straight, gay, bi, trans, whatever, you know.
Yep.
It's just like the community aspect that just like,
that's
makes people feel.
And kind of like ingrained in us since day one. Like hearing you say that, it makes me think back to when I don't know what the reason was, but remember there was that thing with Christy, and like NBC came here.
Oh yeah.
And then there was like that little interview with Christy, and then like there was a snippet from me.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
And it was funny because there was like a little soundbite for the NBC thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of like looking back on it now, like it almost looks like I talked to someone before, and they're like, say this like really nice thing, and, you know, it's gonna it's gonna project the way you want it to be seen, you know.
Yeah.
The reason I'm saying that is because when that thing had come out and I listened to myself talk, I was like, man, I'm so glad that that's the way I'm describing the gym. Because just by having the right people in the building since day one, it's just like changed me, and not that I wasn't ever like that, but it's just made me lean into being that person even more.
Yeah.
And that is like an integral, like sort of concrete part of the gym. The gym wouldn't be the same without those aspects.
Yeah.
And so I'm happy that we're just like expanding on it, and we keep doing it. Not just for like that like holiday or that year or whatever's trending or whatever people are excited about or feel upset about, but like year over year, you know, and we keep bringing the same people in here, and we keep actually doing it like in reality. You know.
No, because it's like also the nature of strength sports is that we don't care your gender, your expression, your sexuality, your whatever. We just want you to come in here and try, you know, try hard, try what you can today. Move some weight, do some sledding, do something, you know, like
totally.
We're all here, like, and it's cool. Like on a given night, you see like the whole rainbow, right? Like, and that's cool.
For sure.
But like, they're not like, it's not, you know. Everyone's just benching and squatting, and like, it's just, that's what it is, you know.
Well,
so,
and the nice thing too is that the effect that those people have on each other is so great. You know, like I've said this a ton of times. You know, we don't need a gym full of 1,000 Nicks and me. You know, and we don't need a gym full of 1,000 Matt and you. You know, like we need every part. We need every person. Every little bit of influence, and it's like you need those people that are like a little intimidated to soften your edges a little bit and make you more approachable and like teach you how to be nice to people and how to like let people know they're welcome. And likewise, those same people that are worried need psychopaths around them a little bit to kind of like toughen them up a little and like, you know, thicken their skin and let them know that like, you know, that people like myself are not unapproachable either, you know, and it's really just like good for everyone in this weird kind of like fucked up utopia way. But we're not trying to do it. You know, we're just like showing up to lift weights. And it's like effort's, you know, also, it's not fabricated.
Like some of the gay boys I got coming in who initially started with like, I want to get big and big and beefy. All of a sudden they come here and they're like, I kind of want to see where my squat's at. Like, I kind of want
like
to try,
flirting with the idea.
Well, like my deadlift's feeling like good. Like, what if we like do like a heavy day next week? I'm like, okay, like, we got a meet coming up too. If you're interested, like you can do bench only if you want, you know. So
yeah. I have a finance guy that comes to mind, and he was like, you know, I just really want to focus on being healthy and in every way possible in life. I'll just kind of sum it up that way to be polite. And then after like 6 months of training, he's like, I really like deadlifting, man. Like,
Yeah.
he's like, I want to like kind of want to push that lift, whenever possible.
See where it's at.
And I was like, you could probably figure that out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no, that's cool. I'm excited. I think it's a really cool idea, and you had kind of brought up the family friends aspect of it. Like, when I was talking to Katie last night a little bit about this part of the podcast, because I was asking her, I was like, hey, is there anything like that you think that we should talk about that I'm missing or forgetting? And she kind of brought up the idea that like you bring in one of your clients and they bring in one of their friends or family, and then it kind of happens over and over again, right? And then people bring in their friends and family. And I think like doing this barbell project, like it just really helps that along, and kind of like it's a way of like pushing that even harder, and it kind of gives people a way to come into the gym, and it's almost like you have a security guard or 2 security guards with you. It's like, dude, you're gonna come in here, nothing bad's gonna happen. Like you're only gonna have great experiences. You're gonna love it. You get to come in here and try it out and see if we are cool or if we're not cool.
Right.
And there's no downside.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's a really nice thing to have, because like even for myself going out to Westside, I feel very confident in this gym. I feel very confident in myself. I'm proud of what I've done and we've done, and Katie and everyone, right? Like, but I idolize that place, and it means a lot to me. So even when we were going out there, I was sort of like, fuck, dude. Like, I mean, I know I'm supposed to go. I paid to go, but like I don't know if I'm like,
what's
like,
it gonna be like?
or like, like not that I'm not good enough to be there, but just like you hold it in such high regard that you almost like kind of inhibit yourself from walking through the doors.
Right,
so it's very similar. Like, did you feel like that at all? Matter? Like,
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
It's
I wasn't like
imposter
worried.
syndrome thing.
I was like, I'm not like, literally like less than a year into this, and I'm walking into Westside with you guys, and I was like, oh, the Rockwell boys are here. I'm like, well, really quick, I kind of just started, so like, maybe don't include me in the group quite yet, but it was funny.
No, and it means a lot, like when people you look up to or respect that much want you around, and they're willing to help you out and make you feel welcome, and it trickles down, and that's a big part of like why we want to do that with people too, is because there's been other people like Dave at Quads, for example. Like, that guy was so nice to me. He's so nice to all of my friends that went there. Great. Like the first year I trained there, he's like, hey, do you want to be on our powerlifting team? I'd sing. Yeah, because you have your app that you're working on. And then aside from that, like you're always helping Matt out with ritual stuff or like computer stuff, or there's been stuff for the gym. You know what I mean? So it's kind of funny because on one hand, you took a U-turn, like it was like, oh, I'm gonna get into training people, and I'm gonna take this like lifting lifestyle full time, not just for myself, but just like everything. But then like you're kind of like working on the computers and you're developing this app, and like I think like one of your strong points, you're excellent in the gym on the floor, like training people. You're very into it. You're very locked in. You're not like a clock watcher. Like, you got 20 minutes left. But I know that you're excellent with documenting your programs and the way you're developing this app. Like we've talked about it, and what you're trying to create there. So it's kind of funny that it's coming full circle, and you haven't really exited like the tech side of your life.
Yeah.
Not that you planned on it, but it's just funny to see the gym just bring you right back there. And now this is like the thing it makes me think about is like, when people say like, you just have to do it. You can't be afraid of it because you don't know what's on the other side of it.
Right. Yeah.
If you had just stuck with what you're doing before, then all this stuff wouldn't be going on.
Right.
If you were just afraid of it, you wouldn't have these clients. Like, probably wouldn't be sitting here talking about all this stuff we're into. And so it's pretty incredible that you just jumped off the cliff, dude. And you're just I'm gonna get into this shit. But so talk to me a little bit about like going from like your previous like corporate job life into training people, working here, picking up the craft, and then like getting into your app. Like I just kind of want to like encompass all that in one swing, because it's kind of cool. It's not like the traditional. It's not the what I mean. Like usually people don't get into training people like that.
I don't know. Like I've always like coached in whatever sport I was doing. I grew up swimming for like when I was a little kid to like college. I coached kids swimming in high school, right? Like I rock climb. I developed the curriculum for the climbing courses at the gym, and I coached the kids, right? Like always just kind of did it.
How old were you then?
I was like a teenager. Like I was in like, in college. That was my college
So
job.
you're doing that for like younger kids?
I was doing it for younger kids, adult programming too. Like
Crazy.
Yeah. So
how did that happen?
I was always just like, and I literally like I turned 13. I needed a job. And I remember the climbing gym paid kids to belay birthday parties and paid cash under the table. And I was like, cool, sounds good. I biked over there. I was like, I hear you guys do this thing.
Yeah.
And they're like, maybe not so loud, but like, yeah. like, yeah.
They're like, I heard that you don't tax
You don't
people.
tax, yeah, you don't pay taxes
I'm
on
into it.
child labor. But but yeah, no.
The best.
So I like ended up working there, and then I stick with that job for a while, and I did route setting and taught courses and stuff like that. I did the coach kids. They have like rock climbing has like competitions and national competitions. Some of those kids are like, some of those kids are like going to the Olympics now, which is kind of crazy. They got really into it, which is insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I was kind of got into it, and I don't know, like. And it wasn't until after college that I taught myself how to code and got into computer science as like a job because I just didn't want to work at.
So you graduated a finance degree originally?
Yeah, I kind of like a finance and marketing degree. Yeah.
Interesting.
And then it was like during like Ubers and Facebooks like popping myself how to code, totally made up a resume and was like, I figured this out.
How did you teach yourself how to code? Like what was
Back in the day, it was reading books. Like there was no boot camp, there was no like YouTube video. So I read these like dense, very much like the Conjugate Tactical written books, honestly, where you're rereading something over and over again, and you're just like.
So you just like read these books on it, and then essentially you just open up your computer, try things out.
Yeah, like you would
go back
read
to reading
like,
again and like
you read. There's like a couple standard coding books out there, like the 4 Concepts or like Java books, and I would read those books thinking like this is what people read, and I'm like, I have no clue what's going on. I need an instructor, obviously, but I read it over and over and over again and finally kind of figure it out, and then I just kind of built some websites. Had a friend that had a design company that I built websites for, and I was like, hey, can you like be a reference for me really quick? And like literally got a job doing that. But yeah, so I don't know, worked in the corporate world for a long time, and got my NASM certification and did like online programming for a while, and I just kind of realized I was getting burnt out on like corporate world, and was looking forward to like doing my own thing, whatever that looked like, this app or coaching, and started with like the coaching part, and I've got the app that I use for my clients. That's just a really simple training app where I can publish programs, they can log them, they can put videos, so it really helps with like the online clients. And then the in-person clients have like a dashboard, kind of similar to what you do, where you can just like kind of log the workouts for them there. But it's pretty simple. I'm hoping with this time off I can kind of open it up to other coaches to use and get it like making money from that side. But that's kind of it.
Now this is kind of like potentially maybe a loaded question on accident. It's not on purpose. But like, are there any things with this app that you're trying to figure out how to accomplish with the app that you're noticing that other apps have a shortcoming, or other apps like maybe there's too much going on? Do you have any goals specifically for your? I mean, of course, it'd be nice for you to have an app, that works and people buy it, and like it's a revenue thing. That's fine on its own. That's amazing. But because I'm not a big app guy like you are. I don't know if you use an app or not.
He does.
Like I'm not a big app guy, right? Like I'm very confident in the way I program, but it's just fucking it's iPhone and Mac Notes. Like I don't give a shit, dude. I send it out, whatever. But I'm just curious. Like, are there any things that you're trying to adjust that user friendliness or anything like that? I wanted to see if there's like internal motivations behind you creating this app, other than just having a business is great.
For sure.
Everyone wants to make money, but is there any other side of that from a design perspective or anything like that?
The main motivation was that like I wanted to be able to track people's progress. The app should be able to do that. It's not like rocket science, right? Like if you lift heavier like this week than last week, your progress should be tracked, right? Like we should be able to detect your 1 rep max and pretty easily like develop RPE charts for you, stuff like that. Shouldn't have to be done like outside the app. This is all like systems, right? So that was a goal with it. You can do that in my app now. We can track
like the coach or
the coach can log the workout, and the app knows like, okay, last week you did I don't know, 3:15 for 5.
So it's almost
This
an
week you're doing-
automatic update thing. The
Yeah, it
coaches
will.
are
It can
trained.
help you. It will help the coach update based
Yeah.
off of like the RPEs at
Gotcha.
but it also will. The client can go in and see like charts and stuff of what they're doing.
I
so,
see.
yeah.
Very cool.
But yeah, it was like a combination of that, but like also keeping it very simple because I
Yeah.
feel like some of these apps there's like too many buttons just to like
Totally.
enter a weight,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, homie, I'm sweaty, I'm tired, I'm just like,
Yeah.
that I did.
Yeah, yeah.
And so mine is like literally just like a big list. You just tap in,
Yeah.
it automatically goes to the next. It's like very simple.
Yeah.
I'm trying to keep it more simple and simple. So
Yeah.
that's the goal. And then also from the coaching standard, a lot of the pricing models for the coaches are like you buy like 20 seats or 50 seats and you
Mm-hmm.
pay a monthly fee. For new coaches, like they have like 3 clients, right? Like they don't need
Yeah.
20 seats, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm gonna do like per transaction pricing model. So
Cool.
you can charge through the app your clients, however you charge,
Mm-hmm.
and the app will take like a cut of that transaction. So whether you
Gotcha.
have 10 or 20, and then
So you don't have to make a hard choice
Right.
between like I need an app, I really want it.
but
want
I
my
have to
clients
pay
to have
like
something more professional.
upfront $200 to get this app to work, and I only
Yeah.
have like 2 clients,
Yeah.
right? So I guess I'll just use Excel for now and figure it out later.
Yeah.
And then that transition from those to the apps are really painful usually. So
Yeah.
I try to get people right in the door.
Gotcha.
And then as I do more transactions, that like cut goes down. So incentivizes people to use the platform.
That's very cool. What's the name of the app?
It's called Trainer app.
Trainer
it's not
app,
very
okay.
like I literally.
Well, it's easy to find on the
placeholder.
App Store.
Yeah, very easy.
Is
to
it on
find
the App Store
It's in
yet?
the App Store. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, for sure. There's
You
a
don't want
website,
something that's
yeah.
hard to remember.
Yeah, exactly.
like-
I obviously like
It's not gonna
very
help you at
right
all.
brain person. Like, don't ask me to draw something. So like
Yeah.
creativity and
Yeah,
naming
yeah,
things,
yeah.
I'm not really good at.
No,
so,
I think
yeah.
that's smart.
I'll teach you how to lift. So
We're running out of time a little bit before kickboxing starts, but I wanted to talk to you about your knee situation a little bit, and
Okay.
not necessarily from the front of like, hey, I heard you hurt your knee, and let's talk about why, what's going on with your knee and you're hurt, and just. But the reason I wanted to talk about that is that you've had knee issues consecutively since I've known you, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think if I remember right, this is the 3rd round of us kind of rehabbing you back to like functionality, right?
Probably 3rd or 4th.
So, but anyways, what I wanted to kind of get to is that like when we did that in the past, right? It was like we sort of like had this issue. We didn't know anything about it at all, right? Like
Yeah.
zero information. We just knew that it was bothering you from like playing football,
Yeah.
you know, or like lifting plus football, like. You know, or maybe not doing a lot of like warm-ups or like, you know, mobility stuff
Yeah.
with lifting. There's a lot of reasons why, you know, maybe it came up or just age, whatever. But now that we're in another round of this, you know, it's kind of interesting because we've sort of done this together before. We've had excessive hours of communication about so many different things, so it's a lot easier this time around. And we've just gotten started, you know, we're like on our 2nd week.
I think also like we know a lot more now. What's like what the scope of it is.
Yeah.
Through the years of what's been happening with my joints, and
Yeah.
you know, it's been something that I have to accept, and I've accepted for a very long time. I still train through it.
Yeah.
Whereas a lot of people probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
With
Oh, yeah.
like the amount of osteoarthritis that I have and
Yeah.
the lack of cartilage, and what doctors have said in the past, like you can't do that, you can't do that, you can't do
Yeah,
that. And
totally.
If anyone knows me, if you tell me I can't do something, I'm gonna do the opposite.
Yeah. I heard that earlier, right?
But I feel like this time, and
Yeah.
maybe the last time, it just I trust you.
Yeah.
You know what's going on.
Yeah.
I need someone to like keep me in a cage
Yeah.
with what's going on.
Totally.
Because I have extreme ADHD, and I will, after 2 weeks of doing something on my own, I will be like,
Yeah.
well, I want to lift heavy
Yeah.
because I want to.
Yeah, we've already saw that like 2 weeks in. You're like,
Yeah.
Hey, you care if I throw that on there? And I'm like,
Yeah.
and we'll like negotiate.
I'm like trying to deadlift more, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, but no, it's always been somewhat enjoyable to do it because I think every time that we've done this, it's been in an unconventional way. The first time I think it was unconventional because we just didn't know a lot,
Yeah.
and we were trying to sort of bring our best ideas to the table to just get you better and get you functioning. you
Yeah.
know? And now we fast forward like I don't know what has it been like maybe 15 years.
Yeah.
Since the first one.
Yeah, 15 years.
You know, we don't know everything, but we know a lot more than where we started at. And so it's kind of nice this time around because we have some background, we have more information, and our thoughts have changed about training and
Yeah.
how to fix an injury or avoid an injury. But on the flip side of it, like I said, it's still really unconventional. So what's funny is that when we've been doing this rehab for the last couple of weeks, right? Like we have a list on the computer of things we're doing.
Yeah.
But what we're doing in those actual exercises, we're really just kind of getting in there and we're watching you move and we're making adjustments based on what we see, what you feel, and letting your body kind of guide us into sort of a better position and activating muscles that essentially just aren't working enough. That's really what's going on, is that certain things are doing too much. You know?
Yeah,
And,
I also really appreciate that you're applying a lot of knowledge that you've learned through conjugate method.
Yeah, that's true. That's a
To
good
what we're
point.
doing.
Yeah.
You know, like we're using a good morning for like range of motion
For stretching
with load and with the safety bar,
hip
in a
development,
box, in a pin.
without it's seated good morning. So
to a
hip
pin.
development without knee shearing, knee pressure. I don't think I would have done that.
No, we're doing a
10 years
high
ago.
box squat with reverse bands with a cambered bar
Yeah. So we're like loading the hips through the cambered bar.
with an unstable factor.
Yep. We have
which
the
is gonna
foam on top of the
help.
box.
So it's
Just
kind
to
of
keep you
cool.
distracted.
But I like
And reverse bands, you know, so
Yeah, I
like
like
you have
it.
the confidence to start moving correctly because you have the bands holding you.
Yeah.
So you're not walking it out and being like, dude, fuck, I hope it doesn't hurt, because you can never move right if you think something's gonna hurt.
it. No, you can't. You're
Whether
right.
you are or not injured.
You're 100% right about that.
So there's a lot of funky but like rational elements of this sort of rehab that we
No,
started.
I love
now,
it. It's
and,
good. And I appreciate it.
Yeah, so it'll be fun to kind of see where this goes, you know, and it's probably gonna take some time, you know, but
Yeah, but I think I'll get strong again.
without a doubt,
Right.
I don't think you're gonna be.
No, I don't
around
think
all
so
of us
either.
about
I
that.
think
but,
if I do things the right way for,
Yeah.
with guidance, I will.
But yeah, it's very, very respectable, man, seeing you do that. You know, that was the other point I wanted to bring up, is that all of us in here have been through a lot of shit physically, you know, myself included. This 25 wasn't my best year, you know.
No, mine
The
either.
other day, Kevin came up to me and he goes, "Dude, your shoulders look really balanced." And I was like, "Thank you." And then after I walked away, I was like, "Dude, could he tell that it was
imbalanced?
like visibly, like I knew I was fucked
They're
up."
way better than they used to be, yeah.
Yeah.
Because
But
used
like-
to be like,
I know, and I'm like,
But
dog,
I get like
I'm
that
like, I
sometimes,
really wish
too.
you would have like been like, hey,
Hey, by the way,
You know what I mean?
like,
What the fuck,
in the
dude?
moment, yeah.
we should all keep each other in check that way.
Yeah. Well, we're getting a little better at it over
better,
time, I
yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. Egos are dying.
Yeah, mine's dead.
It's a nice thing about getting a little bit older, right?
kinda
Like
love
you know, you kind of let go of a lot of
I
that
love
shit,
it.
and you realize you're like, man, fuck, like I need help. Everyone else needs help. Like let's just try to get each other where we need to get going.
Just
You
be
know.
kind about it. Yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
exactly.
yeah. Or just hurt, yeah.
Well, hey, you know, thanks for doing this. This is awesome.
Thank
I
you.
think that we should probably give this another round. You know, like later in the winter. I think it'll be
down.
fun. So,
Hell yeah, sweet.
Sweet.
Yeah.
Thanks, Lawrence.
all right,
Thank you,
baby,
Lawrence.
that's it.